You're on mute, Gary. Now you're ready.
Hey, sports fans. Women's basketball needed a game like this. Whether we were playing at South Carolina, we're the two best teams in the SEC, and we've had to prove it night in and night out with different schemes brought against us or brought against South Carolina. Now it's up for both of us to throw this season away and start all over at the SEC tournament, the NCAA tournament. Thought South Carolina, they just kept hanging and hanging and hanging. Both of us were trying to monitor our situations at the 5 position. But one thing we wanted to make sure, we were still going to attack Boston, knowing how many block shots. What we wanted to do was she blocked a shot, if it didn't go out of bounds, we wanted to make sure we got it. And I thought we picked up a lot of loose balls. But Sierra and Anna did an outstanding job in there. Sometimes I had to go small ball, but as usual, my guards were making good decisions, and we were not living and dying by the 3. They were guarding us very well on the outside, and they were taking a lot of our set plays away. And so we were having the ball screen at the end, but we probably got 8 points in the first half just on a few garbage plays. They might have blocked something or we dump it underneath, and we got those 8 easy points that we had to have to get to halftime. Then after halftime, I think the first part of the third quarter, we started running our stuff, executing very well. Jordan played a heck of a game at the point guard. And just think, the other point guard on the other team is a heck of a player, particularly in transition. But my kid isn't even ranked in the top 12 in assists, but she's ranked number 1 in leadership of her team and finding out what we need to have in the particular ball game. She had met a situation she could not handle, and give her a lot of credit for shot clock shots at the end of the ball game, and great ball game. By the way, everybody thought Indy Jones was overrated out there because she had 4 games where she hadn't got her double-double. She's not overrated. She's underappreciated because she does all the little things for us in the ball games. We don't call a lot of set plays for her. She gets her plays just on her basketball instincts, rebounding, and hustle plays. So I'll open up for questions.
Let's go to Christy from the Associated Press.
Hey, first of all, congratulations.
Thanks, Christy.
I just wondered, what does it mean to you to win the SEC title for the first time, especially in a season with so many, outside challenges with the pandemic and everything y'all had to deal with on top of all the basketball stuff?
If you will go back, we were the first team at A&M to win a team championship 2013 when we won the tournament championship. We didn't win the regular season. Can't even remember who won it then, but we won that tournament championship. And that sort of started the thing. I know what we'd done in 2011. We hadn't won a conference title since 2007. We really wanted this. Tournament championships are great, but the body of work, which you have to do during the regular season, is so important. And it's a shame that all the teams in the SEC didn't all have equal number of games. And I would have hated to have won it on one way. If I had the highest winning percentage, but somebody beat me head to head, I wouldn't have felt like the champion. And that's what was fixing to happen. We needed to win this game to solidify who we were and what we've earned. We didn't opt out of the 2 games that we missed. And South Carolina said, bring on all comers. They played all 16 games, and give them a lot of credit for who they are, because nobody in America has lost 4 games to the 4 teams that they have lost to. And I guarantee you they're still one of the favorites to win the national championship.
All right, let's go to Sue Favor and then Mike Lucas.
Hey, Coach. I remember at the beginning of the season in your first pressers, you guys had a lot of hope for what you thought might happen. What are the steps and who are the people that brought you from that point to where you're at today? How did you guys get here?
We got here because we had to realize we had a great player the last 3 years in Kendi Carter that everybody had to scheme for. When this year started, nobody gave us as much credit as a team that you had to scheme for. A lot of times, like on the men's side, when you've seen a Villanova or a Gonzaga, or even back in the day, an NC State or something like that, all we are is just a basketball team. We don't have somebody that can go out there, score 22, 25 a night. We had that for 3 years and we loved every minute of it. But right now, Sue, we check the egos at the door. We check the egos at the door, and that's every one of us because of the competition that we have to face. Really, we're just fixing to start the next season. We've just finished one season. Now we've got the second season, the SEC tournament. Then you have the third season. And on any night, you're going to see more upsets in the first and second round than you've ever seen in men or women's basketball because of neutral court sites. And that's going to keep going. You game plan, don't look ahead to Sweet 16 or Elite 8. Somebody will kick you in the butt because there's so many capable teams that are out there. This team is doing it with leadership, with 6 seniors, and 5 of them are in grad school. Okay. And who knows? I'd love to have them all back. But in today's world, some of them are ready to use that degree, go out and make some money or play some pro ball. We'll just see what happens afterwards. But this team never even thinks about that. They don't talk about that. Where am I in the draft? Where am I? Can I go to Israel or Turkey or what? We don't even allow those conversations to happen. Where is Coach Blair? Is this your last year? Is that your last game? Salute the fan. No. I don't want to hear none of that. Okay. I love watching the other day when Jim Boeheim went against Mike Krzyzewski, 76 and 74. They're still doing it, and I'm still doing it. So until somebody takes all my horses away from me, you're stuck with me. And I love doing what I'm doing.
All right, let's go to Mike Lucas from KAGS, and then we'll go to Dorothy.
Coach, congratulations once again. At what point in the season, or even maybe in the preseason, did you realize this team had special championship caliber potential?
There's no way in the preseason I realized that because I knew what was coming. I also knew the schedule. If we were going to do it, it had to be this year because we had all the big horses coming to A&M. If this game would have been played non-COVID-like, this would have been A&M and Baylor all over, and there would have been 13,000 people in there, just like it's at 19,000 when you play with South Carolina. But we had all the top teams coming to A&M. You have to take care of business at home, and we did. And then on the road, all you do is survive. You survive, make good decisions down the stretch, which this team has done all year long.
Okay, let's go to Dorothy Gentry from The Athletic, and then Tyler Shaw.
Hi, Coach. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dorothy.
If you could narrow it down to one thing, what was the one key to victory on today?
Basket attack. Early on, we were starting to settle a little. We got, like I said, 8 sort of garbage points, and that really helped us where we didn't have to run the perfect play. Their defense was that good. After that, I said, we have got to basket attack. A couple of times early in the ball game, we'd see a couple of our players settle for a jump shot that was contested with 10 seconds to go on the shot clock. I said, go deeper in the shot clock until you get space. But when you attack, your shoulder needs to be in Boston's shoulder. If it's blocked, we'll pick it up and put it in. But we can't avoid her. She's that good. We have to basket attack and force her to stay out of foul trouble too. And we really did a great job in the second half. Every time we scored a layup, that gave us more and more confidence. The basket by Anna in the second half on a set play was huge. It gave our bench the biggest, because nobody cheers for a teammate. We all cheer for Anna. And that's how important she is to this basketball team. I thought Wilson's drive near the end was huge. When nothing was working, somebody had to create a play. Jordan was running on fumes about then, and we had to have somebody make a play. And I think that's when Jordan took it in on the driving layup.
Thank you.
Next up is Tyler Shaw from KBTX, and then we'll go to Doug Feinberg.
Coach, how, obviously special just in the fact that SEC regular season champions, but the fact that you beat South Carolina, a team that you haven't beaten since 2014, how big was that for this program?
It's not that we hadn't beat them. They've won a national championship, gotten to the Final Four, and arguably they were going to be the national champion last year. So there was a lot of teams that hadn't beat them. So that doesn't bother us. How many times did we lose to Mississippi State until we beat them this year? I was reminded about that every time I saw an article or something. Streaks do not mean a thing to me. The game that you're playing. And that's what we do. Tyler, we know we're not going to go blow somebody out of any ball game unless it's the one we had Northwest Louisiana or something. Other than that, it's going to be a grind because we balance the scoring around. Between my two post players, they average about 23 points and about 18 rebounds or between the two of them. That's a pretty good duo. But then when I have those three guards, then I have those four other guards coming off behind them. I have trust. I built in trust because you have to have the horses. You don't say horses. You've got to have the women down low. They're going to protect the paint and do all the dirty work. And then you've got to sit there and you got to have guards be decision makers. I've got as good a guards as anybody in the country.
All right, let's go to Doug Feinberg from the Associated Press, and then Chuck Carlton.
Hey, Coach, congrats on the win today and the title.
Good to have you on the call. Good to hear you.
So I remember when I was on the call probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, you were concerned about your net rating and whether the committee was going to give you respect that you guys probably deserved. You've done everything you can. I mean, you're probably going to be one of the top seeds, I would think. I think you're one of the best teams in the country, if not the best, based on who you've beaten this year in the SEC being so good.
Well, like I said, I've talked to people across the go. The net does not work in a year like this. It has nothing to do with a computer or the system. It just does not work. So throw that net. We have to trust the committee on this for the body of work. The net does not work when you have as many cancellations or all of that. It does not work. So basically all year long, about that top 6 or 7 been there all year long. Doesn't matter if they lose a game or not. And doesn't matter how many games you win, it doesn't work. So the net will work next year, hopefully, and maybe they'll make some changes on it. Now, Doug, on that, should we be a number 1 seed? Not unless we take care of business and get at least to the championship game in the SEC tournament. Every time you lose to someone, they're going to find out, well, he got all his wins at home. He didn't get them on the road. Yeah, we got a few on the road, but they weren't top 10 wins. So every time there's an if and a but to everything that we do. An if and a but. We don't do this, we don't do that. Doug, all I can do is shuffle them out there. I make a lot of the wrong calls. My gosh, I saw Stanford the other night on TV. They look pretty damn good. South Carolina looks great. But remember, we had 3,500 fans at this game. They have that every night. This was our best crowd of the year, maybe the best butts in seats crowd in the country this year. Okay, all those other crowds that have been announced, those are announced crowds. We count butts and seats. And I guarantee you, our fans made a difference in this ball game. And I know I didn't answer the question, Doug, but you know me, I ramble, throw a couple adjectives in there and give me a couple good comments.
Coach, I'd expect nothing less. Appreciate it as always.
Thank you, Doug.
All right, let's go to Chuck Carlton from the Dallas Morning News and then Anna from Texas.
Gary, obviously you were focused on the SEC regular season championship before the game. What's your message now to your team? And does that message change at all simply because this is such a mature team? You referenced the seniors, 5 in grad school, all that stuff.
It's a mature team. It's a mature coaching staff. Okay. I don't have a bunch of bobblehead dolls walking for me and say, yeah, Coach Blair, I said, if I'm wrong on something, they tell me real quick. I have a mature coaching staff that's basically, I've got 4 head coaches working with me. Now, I'm sorry, Chuck, the first part of that. And by the way, my brother brought the Dallas Morning News when he came in to see the game. So I'm glad I finally got a Dallas Morning News brought to me in the car yesterday. What was the first part of that, Chuck?
No, what's your message now to your team going forward after the championship, but with everything ahead of you?
We're only as good as that next game, whether we're playing a 8-9 winner, which that's who we should play at 11 o'clock on Friday morning. 8-9 winner, those 2 teams that could finish in 8-9, I haven't seen who that would be. It might be LSU or somebody like that. Well, guess what? You know what our record is against LSU the last 5 years? Not very good, below 500. So we're not good enough to look past anybody to try to say, let's play next Sunday against South Carolina. I'd just love to play anybody next Sunday, but you got to take care of Friday, Saturday first. And not too many times does a conference champion also win the conference tournament. We didn't in 07. We won the tournament championship in 08. We won it in 10. We won the tournament championship SEC in 13. I believe I'm right on my numbers. We competed for a lot of them, but it's hard to get those kids up. And we're going to be playing in the state of South Carolina. And hopefully all 14 schools will have a good representation there. And I think they can realize we're close to being over the hump on all this COVID stuff and all the mask stuff and all of that. But we're not there yet. We still got to do the safety precautions and do what's right and hopefully stay lucky. And I don't have a lotto ticket, but I tell you what I do have. And I rubbed it the whole ball game. This is a 1945 $50 right there that I lost it at Florida this year. Somebody gave me a brand new one. Usually I only do it during free throws. I kept it in my fingers, rubbing it for good luck the whole ball game. So that's the most important thing, along with having guards that can make good decisions. Chuck, I appreciate you. Come on to South Carolina. You don't have to just stay there and cover the Big 12. Come on over to South Carolina and watch that tournament.
Might see you in San Antonio, Coach.
Okay, that tournament. I like that one too.
All right, let's go to Anna from Texas, and we'll wrap it up with Robert Cessna.
All right, Coach, you mentioned earlier that this South Carolina team was dominant in the paint. Can you confidently say that you guys clogged the paint, especially in the third quarter where the Gamecocks were scoreless for the first 5 minutes? And could you also just touch on your game plan with that?
Yes, they're dominant in the paint, but look at the paint points. 36 for us, 26 for them. Okay, that's never happened to them all year. Their paint points in the last 16 ball games, and that includes Connecticut, is off the chart. Off the chart. That's where you win championships, is your paint touches and paint points. It can be drivers like Henderson, got a bunch of them early, for just in transition. She's probably the best in the league at creating her own shot in transition. But you have to get paint touches. And we did it with a combination of Jones, Johnson, and my guards driving the ball. But their paint presence is very good. But remember, who's in charge of our paint? Coach Bob Starkey, our defensive coordinator. And baby, he protects that thing and he coaches the heck out of it during practice.
All right, let's wrap it up with Robert Cessna.
Yeah, a couple points, Gary, and expanding on that. You said some frustration inside on your players in that third quarter, and do you feel they started shooting three-pointers a little bit too early?
Our kids?
Or no, you forced them to shoot three-pointers.
Yes. And I'm sure Dawn was probably, once it got down to 12 points, man, you better start. Do you want to shoot three-pointers unless you're in Arkansas or something, or do you want to go to your strengths? And that's basket attack. Every coach does it a different way. And I'm a guy, we lead the league in three-point percentage. That's what I want to do. I never want to coach a team and lead the nation or the league in three-point attempts. I'm old school. I believe in the three-point play, the basket, and the free throw. Hit the open threes on the reversal, or we tried to run a couple of set ones for Pitts early, but they did a great job switching and denying the ball back. So you'll have to ask Dawn on that if they went early, but they had to catch up if they were not forcing turnovers off of the press. Who knows? Maybe they should have pressed earlier. I don't know, because we were starting to run on fumes and their press is very good.
Also, Gary, then they went on a 9-0 run and got back into it. Was that your senior experience, or the fact you had a lot of close games, guys were able to close it out?
Both. And then we made a couple of defensive stops and got the rebounds on their misses near the end. They were not getting a lot of offensive boards, if I'm not mistaken, in the last 3 to 4 minutes of the ball game. It was one and outs, and we were bringing the ball down the court pretty well. We made a couple mistakes on a 10-second call. That's my fault, but we took forever, and Jordan didn't realize she could still just drive it across and make it by about a second. But that was my fault for hollering at her, and she panicked and threw it in the air, and it's got to be touched before the 10 seconds go off.
Hey, Gary, congratulations.
Hey, did softball win?
I think they did. I was over here. Yes.
Well, that's good. I thought you were going to do double duty. I'm glad you were with us. But hey, we appreciate all the coverage all year. We're leaving Wednesday because we'll play at 11 a.m. on Friday morning. So we will have a media thing on Tuesday. Okay, if you got anything else coming up, I think I got my last radio show this Monday night, correct?
Yeah.
Last radio show. And if anything else you need me, you know my phone number. But I really appreciate the coverage we've had all year.